works for your kids and what feels true, and I think that that's an important part of the process. So
I like it without the light.
now you lost, sorry. So yeah, and I would, if I was gonna give you any caution, you guys probably have already figured this out because I've only said it like 6 billion times, but I would stay away from any curricula that doesn't pretty early up front say you need your own practice. If it's very formulaic and here's the recipe, go do it, that's a red flag for me. Now the flip side is, honestly, because you all have a practice now, you could take those curricula and you would deliver them through your practice, and so even those curricula are safe, or what, I mean, like, you could find value in them because you have the practice. But what makes me nervous is when those things are like being mass marketed as like recipes. That makes me nervous. Other comments and questions, and things that didn't go well, or
I did the mindful game that Bianca was talking about with the counting.
can you just remind me?
So they sit in a circle and they count to 10, but they can't like communicate or discuss strategy or. And so they did it a lot faster than I thought they would. My 6th period got it on the 2nd try.
And are they normally? This
I mean,
is
they're
my
pretty
curiosity.
high energy, but
are they
pretty
normally a
bonded,
group
and
that
they're
gels?
they're pretty in tune with each other. So that made sense. And then we did a little debrief after about like, what did you need to do in order to be successful? Pay attention to each other. We needed to to ourselves. We needed to see if someone wanted to speak. That kind of stuff. And then how does this relate to what you've been learning about mindfulness?
So that's like the paper clips. It's like mindful teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they were doing group work for the rest of the day, so.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well played.
Things that didn't go well. All success. Oh, and it's right. It says right here. It's from Kristen Neff. And Kristen Neff is, I call her the mother of mindful self-compassion, and just like I balked at Kieran's comment, she balks at that, but that is how I define her. She is the person who created the curriculum. She is like she's at the University of Texas, UT Austin, I think. She's done a lot of research on self-compassion, but she's like kind of the person. So that's a good resource.
What's her name? Kristen Neck?
Yeah, and I can send a link to that as well. And there are, again, like if you were going to take something over the summer or whatever, like I think El Camino has a mindful self-compassion course, and I think there are some online ones now. So there are options. Anything else? All good?
What age group, sorry, was yours, what you were talking about?
Juniors and seniors.
Why
Because
are
I
you-
have also freshmen and sophomore, but I don't want to overlap with them.
Right,
because
oh, no,
I
that's
work
okay,
in,
I just
so-
know, I just feel, I don't know, sometimes you have freshmen that are really good, and then I still have my couple of squirrely boys, and I feel like they're just, as they mature, they'll be more receptive. Juniors, it's good that they're getting this introduction, and then when they get to your class, I mean, it's not all, it's
Right,
you know.
and you're gonna I mean, that's life, you're gonna have them, and it's all fine, and
I mean, they're mature in everything they do, so it's,
right.
their whole existence.
Well, and the interesting thing, which I said towards the end of the last course, is, like, really, when you think about it, in 4 years, and now it's 3, this is gonna be maybe not the first language, but a predominant school language. Like 3 years from now, when you're all, whatever, standing in the copy room, like whatever it is, minus the athletes, and you and Brian and I may decide to work with them as well. But all the freshmen, you know, all of the students will have had it as freshmen. So like, and the place that I got it the most, I don't know if you guys remember this day, but Brian came in one day in the last course and he was talking about some kid who was just like escalating and escalating. And he was talking, you know, and you could tell that he was still kind of from the interchange. And it's not like it's gonna be, again, rainbows and unicorns, sorry Tiffany. But, like they would have had a different language to talk in that moment. I mean, like, and just even, Brian could have said, dude, like, just take one breath. That's all I'm asking you to do. You can do that with me, we're gonna do it together. And that would have been a completely different thing. But to like introduce that in the moment when the kids never even thought about it is kind of tough. But if he's heard it once, or once in PE and once in English and once in Spanish, you know, he might actually do it. So, I mean, to me, that's super cool.
And maybe more teachers will come on board and get trained, and you've got reinforcement everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a big innovation group as well that's
Yes.
got a lot of people looking at that, and then they've got like a strategies bank and like different activities you can do.
And you guys all have access to that?
It's in the Eagle Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think some teachers from the bigger group that was with us last time are still doing it with their kids too, so.
Right. I mean, some people, like, the timing didn't work, or they freaked out about the commitment, or, so. Okay. So in terms of next time, we've kind of talked about it, but what I would say is, I would probably start with either flashlight practice or peace practice. Maybe flashlight because you haven't done it, but both of those practices in some way kind of pull everything together. And then for those of you who are completing, so that's really Judy and Kiernan, and you know, some of you others may decide you're going to complete. You may decide, no way am I completing before finals and AP tests and whatever else that might be coming down the pipe. But if you are completing, then you want to do the letter to themselves and the letter to a friend. And if you're not completing, then you get to play now with making it your own and finding, like Amy was talking about, other resources, and or going back to some things that is like, well, you know, we did this 2 months ago and they've kind of forgotten, and you know, it's totally fair game to just go back and like start your way back through the curriculum, because each time they come to it, they have a different understanding and they hear it in a different way, and they're, you know, more familiar, and they can get how it kind of applies, or they've already applied it once. And so you can play with, you know, what you want to do. And a lot of you have been doing that already.
Should we even go into self-esteem or?
Oh, good reminder. Because I was, when Amy passed that around, I was like, don't I have self-compassion in this book? Yeah, wow.
Something.
It's, I mean, it's just, I'm just thinking about the timing.
So, probably, well, depending on how long, I mean, they might be very quick on the letter piece, and you might
Right.
have a bunch of time to.
And the other choice is, like, we don't, I mean, we could stretch it out a week, because I do feel like that and the self-compassion piece is such an important part. And just noticing when you're comparing and competing and judging yourself, and remembering that, I mean, Amy just read it, but you know, this is a moment of suffering. Everybody experiences suffering, and I'm gonna offer myself some kindness, like remembering that when you're feeling at your worst and like most likely to beat yourself up, there is another choice in terms of offering yourself kindness and compassion. So I think that's definitely a message worth doing. So if you guys wanted to decide to stretch it out a week and do that. Like maybe do flashlight and self-compassion the week you get back, and then do peace and the letters the week after that, and complete the week after that. I think that would be fine.
And peace in the letters, I mean, for the PE teachers might not take up the whole period, so maybe they would have some period of time if they're freaking out about losing.
Oh, do you think your guys
think they
are
would be
gonna freak
upset?
out about their class
Or would
time?
they love it?
I don't know, talk to them and see what they,
Okay.
I'm thinking that I'm definitely gonna go on a couple more weeks just because I haven't gotten everything in that you've
Yeah.
gotten in.
And I'm,
But I'm not sure.
Well, and I'll be curious actually, I mean, I'll just be interested to know what happens when mindfulness in PE stops. Like it may not stop in your class, like
Right.
you may carry it to the, but it will stop in Judy's classes. And I'll be like, just, I wanna know what happens.
There was a fight on the pool deck.
she might bring it up, use it in class.
So, well, I mean, well, but right, but like, this is one of the questions that makes sense, right, as we move forward, is like, what does happen when the formal class stops? Okay, travel well,
Thank you. And
pack
thank
your,
all of you.
pack your sense of
Tomorrow
humor.
morning?
Be safe.
Friday morning.
Oh, okay,
Friday
still.
morning, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of that. I have been very successful in thinking of this as Thursday. Then I go, oh, I want more tea.
Yeah, but, good,
Yes.
good.